You can have the best tools, the right canvas, even the perfect team. But if you're missing one key ingredient, engagement, the picture never comes to life. In this video, I'm going to show you how to bring color, energy, and connection to your team. But to do that, we need to understand why engagement matters. Let me show you what I mean by using something you probably see every single day. This clock ticks the same for every team. Same hours, same minutes, same meetings. But how those hours feel, that's a whole different story. Engaged teams barely notice the time. They're in flow, they're connected, time flies. But disengaged teams, they're watching every second tick by, dragging through the day, waiting for it to end. And that difference isn't just about how people feel, it's about what they give. Disengagement costs creativity, it kills motivation, it slows everything down. So if you want your team to do more than just show up, you've got to bring them into the picture. You've got to create a space where they care, contribute, and connect. So we're going to look at 5 powerful methods you can genuinely use to engage your team. No gimmicks, just real connection, purpose, and action. Because if you don't, you won't just lose time, you'll lose trust, you'll lose your best people, and eventually the whole picture falls apart. Let's prevent that by starting with method 1. Imagine painting a picture without knowing what the picture is supposed to be. You'd lose motivation pretty quick, right? Well, that's exactly what it's like for teams when they don't understand or they forget the bigger purpose behind their work. I was delivering a workshop for one of my clients with 2 struggling teams, and what they'd forgotten was this. They were all working towards the same goal. Although the IT team and the client-facing team had different roles, ultimately they were working toward the same purpose. The workshop allowed them to remember their why. Remembering their why helped them reconnect and better understand each other. When people feel connected to why their work matters, not just what they do, but why they do it, that's when real engagement happens. If you're a leader, start your next team meeting by sharing a real-world impact your team's work had on a customer, colleague, or the company as a whole. Then ask them how their role connects to that. You'll be surprised how quickly people re-engage when they realize how their work contributes to something impactful. Being handed a to-do list is very different from being trusted to do part of the work. One makes you follow, the other makes you engage. When team members are simply executing instructions, it's easy for them to disengage. But when they're trusted to make decisions, take the lead, and shape the outcome, they become more invested. A great example of this is Netflix. They've created a culture where freedom and responsibility go hand in hand. There's no fixed holiday policy, no tracking of work hours. Employees are expected to manage their own time and take full ownership of their results. And it works because people feel trusted. They feel like their contributions matter. One of Netflix's core principles is lead with context, not control. That means giving people the bigger picture, the why, and then trusting them to figure out how. And that kind of ownership is a powerful driver of engagement. If you're a leader, why not try this? The next time you assign a project, don't just give instructions, share the goal, the context, and the why. Then ask, how do you think we should approach this? That simple shift gives people space to think and to engage more deeply in their work. Then people feel they own the outcome. They don't just do the work, they care about it. It's easy to celebrate progress when the big goals are hit. The deal is closed, the project is completed. But if that's the only time your team gets recognition, you're missing a huge opportunity to engage them. Celebrating progress shows your team that their everyday efforts matter. It shows them that the small steps, the consistent actions, the behind the scenes work all count. Take Salesforce, for example. They're known for having a strong culture of recognition. They use platforms like Chatter to allow peer-to-peer shoutouts and leadership recognition, and not just at the end of a quarter. This regular celebration of progress helps to build motivation, momentum, and a culture of engagement. So why not try this? At the end of each week, ask your team what's one thing you're proud of this week, or take a moment to recognize someone who made great progress, even if the final result isn't there yet. It might seem like something small, but those moments of recognition build real engagement among teams. And while delivering workshops, specifically one called Harnessing Gratitude, I've seen how powerful moments of appreciation have been for team members. I've seen team members break down with tears of joy because they've finally been recognized for their efforts. Recognized teams are most definitely more engaged. Feedback shouldn't be something people fear. It should be something they expect and actually want. But in too many workplaces, feedback only comes during formal reviews. And by then, it's too late to make amendments or celebrate the effort. If we want our teams to be engaged, we need to build a culture where feedback is part of the everyday experience. And not just from management, but between colleagues. That means creating an environment where feedback is shared openly, constructively, and without fear. It's not about assigning blame. It's about working together more effectively. But one challenge people find is knowing how to communicate effectively. And I'll share some tips on that at the end. But I've had people enter my workshops scared to give feedback to colleagues, but by the end of the session, they're excited to constructively talk with their peers. Most people aren't afraid of giving or receiving feedback. They're afraid of how it's delivered or how to deliver it. But when they're given the tools to communicate clearly, they're happy to receive feedback and give it in a caring and considerate way. When feedback is delivered considerately, it builds psychological safety. And when people feel safe, they feel heard. And when they feel heard, they engage. Work shouldn't just be about deadlines, targets, or performance reviews. Work should be about its people. The more human the environment feels, the more engaged your team will be. People want to feel like more than just a job title. They want to be seen, heard, supported, and not just managed. But this doesn't mean becoming best friends with your team. It means creating a culture where people can show up as themselves, where there's space to talk honestly, and where kindness, empathy, and understanding are part of the working environment. And simple actions or questions can make a big difference. A great example of a company doing this well is Airbnb. They've consistently been recognized for their people-first culture. From day one, they've prioritized belonging, empathy, and psychological safety as their core values. They even have a head of employee experience, a role focused entirely on creating a workplace where people feel valued and supported. Through the workshops I've delivered, I've seen how brilliant it is for teams when they come together. You see people laugh, connect, and share meaningful moments. And ultimately, that leads to stronger communication, better collaboration, and greater engagement. So why not organize a tailored workshop for your team to get them together and build that human connection that is so vital in any workplace? If you want help with this, get in touch. Now, earlier I mentioned tips for improving communication in the workplace. Well, if you want to hear those tips and understand why poor communication is destroying your workplace, you need to watch this video right here. But remember, a happy workforce is a productive workforce.